But at nighttime, when you're still seeing the people shot up, when you're still thinking about things in your past that you had to go through, that you had to do, it's like, man, do I even deserve to be here? Why am I here?
It's all good, dude.
I feel this false guilt or shame or like embarrassment. Like if I tell people that I'm feeling this, does it make me weak? Is it going to make me a coward? You know, aren't I supposed to just grit my teeth and get through this?
You got to change the definition of what tough is, right? Because that's what you're told. Don't cry, toughen up. Well, the definition of tough is being able to say how you feel, right? Being able to be true to yourself no matter who's around.
It takes courage to open up when you're literally in it. And I know a lot of you watching and listening are going to relate. My man Pierre came from overcoming a lot of adversity, grew up in a rough area, and grew to become very successful in career, in business, husband, father.
We focus so much on everybody else and we neglect ourselves until it's over. You know what I'm saying? Like until you finally want to say, yo, I'm gonna put that pistol in my mouth and it's over. You know what I mean? I'm gonna put that pistol to my head and it's over.
That's where this stuff can lead to. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Elevating Beyond with a 2-word mission statement: change lives. And we're doing something different today. I've got my good man who I've known for years, maybe a decade by now, Pierre.
Yeah.
And he reached out to me about some struggles that he's really going through. And we decided to do a show where he's just going to openly discuss it with me, because so many people share their stories once they've made it to the other end of the stuff they're going through, like the mental battles, and as Pierre is going to open up and share. And it takes courage to open up when you're literally in it. And I know a lot of you watching and listening are going to relate and feel this. And my man Pierre, I mean, here's his book right here, best-selling author, came from overcoming a lot of adversity, grew up in a rough area, and grew to become very successful in career, in business, husband, father. And what's been going on, Pierre?
Life. Everything under the sun, man. First, I want to thank you, man, for always answering the calls. You know what I mean? Always picking up. Yeah, it's been a journey, and the journey has been challenging. It has been frustrating, depressing, stressful. There's bits of glory, you know what I mean? Bits of glory in there. And if I would have known there was so much stuff that comes with the glory, I don't know if I would have ever got started, man. And every day it's a real struggle. You know what I mean? You look in the mirror, and if it wasn't for always hearing the sounds of my wife and my kids that still live home, it would be a lot harder. You know what I mean? A lot of the times, man, like that's the energy, that's the push, just to get out of my own mental space.
Well, what really started hitting you? Because, you know, externally, people see you like the books, the shows, the speaking, the career. And, you know, I know you reached out to me, I think even like a year ago, and it was just talking about, I'm going through a lot of mental stuff, man. And we were talking about, you know, how even sometimes it's taboo, not only culturally, because I don't want to get in on all that, but it does help to be open as possible, but also for men too, that and women that are like high performance, because we're used to being the ones that are fixing all the problems, and we're supposed to be superhuman. And we both believe in God, and we go to God, and still you know, there's this mental stuff that's been hitting you that I feel like you've been holding it in for a long time. I don't want to speak for you. I just know from talking with you. And
Yeah.
sometimes I know myself, I feel I feel this false guilt or shame or like embarrassment. Like if I tell people that I'm feeling this, does it make me weak? Is it going to make me a coward? You know, aren't I supposed to just grit my teeth and get through this? Because we do get through everything and we will. But
Yeah.
it's also important when you're really hitting something that you can listen to something like this or really reach out to someone. That's what you did, Pierre. And I just like want to help understand what started really hitting you like mentally, you know, if you don't mind just being like transparent,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. So you stop winning, and when you're winning, you don't really you was I was hustling and struggling and pushing to hide the other stuff, the internal pain, and thinking that if I just keep pushing and I keep, I make this amount of money, I achieve this, that
mm,
life would get better and everything would go away. You know what I mean? But you wind up at the victory and you celebrate, but it's a fake celebration because the pain you was trying to hide is still sitting there. And you see everybody around you laughing, and you're just like, man, I don't have it in me to laugh. So I got tired of winning externally and struggling internally.
mm,
And it got to the point where it's like, man, I just want to focus on the internal struggles that I have, because
mm,
I keep not being able to get past a certain point.
mm,
And I'm like, why? Why can't I get past this? Right. So it just made me look and start doing some, I don't want to say deep work in the beginning, but it made me just start asking some questions and look and say, man, where did these behaviors come from? Where did this thought process come from? I didn't just make it up. It came from somewhere. So, you start looking into your life and you start seeing things. For me, it was, I was raised by my mom and my dad wasn't there. So I'm looking at things. I'm like, man, what was it with my mother? Was there things that I didn't like, and were there things that traumatized me? And the more I started to look, and again, and my mother's, she's a wonderful woman, man. She did an amazing job.
right,
She did what she could based on what she knows.
right.
Um,
And you're not
but
coming
there
out
was
here like
something,
I'm a victim and
yeah,
I'm,
nah,
but you're, and I want you to continue. I'm just, you're, because you're always self-assessing, you're self-aware. We're constantly working on mindset, but there's another
hmm
part of it. And I understand what you're saying, where it's like, why, like you told me, we'll talk about like having a full blown panic attack, which I've had before. And if someone were to tell you they had that without you going through it, you'd look at them like, what are you talking about? But when you go through that,
yeah,
that's all that built up stuff releasing all the adrenaline, all the stuff, which feels like a full blown heart attack and stuff. And that's from all that suppressed stuff that I'm still, by the way, working on and figuring out. And I know one part of it is it doesn't completely go away because we are wired differently in how we think, and that's what makes us creative and entrepreneurs and stuff.
hmm
And that's a good thing, and it makes us driven. But like you were saying, on the flip side of it, you're hitting these plateaus and these walls, and it's like things need to be
yeah,
better than this. So you
it,
go
it,
back to your mom and you're kind of assessing some stuff in your life.
yeah. Yeah, like just what was the childhood like? What was the relationships? What was said? You know what I mean? Like, what traits did I pick up? What damage was there? And you start just seeing little things, right? I'm a young kid, and my mom had to work, so sometimes she's working double shifts. So I don't see my mom from 7 o'clock in the morning to 11:30 at night when she gets out of work. I'm coming home by myself, so this is a lot of time by yourself, right? So you
Mm.
get into a lot of things. There's no father in the house. I go out into the streets, and it comes to a point my mother's kicking me out, right?
I
And
mean,
I
you were
get it. She
dealing
doesn't want.
drugs at what? Well, How
Yeah,
old were you?
10. I sold my first bag of weed at 10 years old.
Mm.
Um, I'll never forget it. You know what I mean? My first bag of weed at 10, that's when I was introduced to sales. So you look at it from at 10 years old, I'm supposed to just be watching cartoons and playing outside, right?
Right.
But I'm going to football practice. I'm selling drugs on the way there. I'm selling drugs on the way home, right? These are the things that I'm doing. And it became so normal that I unwired myself from the upbringing that I had, which was good. And I started to unwire myself and rewire myself. And then for 20 years after that, I'm continuously hardwiring all these activities that go along with selling drugs, the violence, the low self-esteem, the low
Mm.
confidence, right? The things that people don't talk about in the streets. That's why you run around and you want to be like you want to be gangster, right? Because
Right.
that's like, you ain't bullying me no more. Like, this is who I am. So you create this whole false identity.
It like
And
camouflages fear.
yeah, yep,
Right.
by being tough. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
And what it did is it helped me I created a whole new identity, and I tied all these habits to this one identity for over 20 years.
Mm.
That means if you look at me the wrong way, this is going to happen. If you say something the wrong way, if you do something to me, and now I got to live up to all of this. And, 18 years old, seen most people, you say, hey, you know anybody who passed away? And they don't tell you nobody that was murdered.
Mm.
I'm looking at it like, not only do I know the people that was
Mm.
murdered, but I seen people stretched out. A young kid, 22 shots through his body. Another kid shot up in the, like, I seen this, like, friends of mine, family of mine. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and you don't think about it. It's normal. You normalize the things that end up being problems later on in life. At that time, you keep pushing. You just go, go, go. And in public, I'm laughing, I'm smiling. You know what I mean? Like, everything is okay. But when I go home, I go from being gangster to the crybaby because
Mm.
I'm living a life that I don't want to live. But I
Right.
never
It's
dealt
like you
with the
take your armor
issues.
off and the mask off, and
Yeah. It's
we're all
because you don't have
human.
nobody to put the front up for. So for me, it was things I deal with now. When I look back and I'm like, man, you're in a house and you're crying, you was out here doing this. And now as I make shifts in my life and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get away from that and I'm gonna become this person and I'm gonna achieve this. But at nighttime, when you're still seeing the people shot up,
Mm.
at nighttime, when you're still thinking about things in your past that you had to go through, that you had to do, it's like, man, do I even deserve to be here? Why am I here? Am I
Mm.
able to go any further? And I'm looking at,
It's all good, dude.
you see what I mean? Like,
And you know what though, Pierre? These tears you're letting out are healthy because you've been bottling this in for so long, and it's good to get dude, I tear up all the time when I'm talking about my stuff. And I'm like, I just like, I can't, but it's a healthy type of tearing up because you're releasing this. You know what I mean? It's like therapy.
yeah,
It's like, that's what they're made for. Like, I know we've been told a lot of times, like, don't cry, you got to be tough. But it's like,
yeah.
there's a time you're supposed to process stuff. And that's like one of the emotions God literally built into us, like as a tool. And
Yeah,
go
you
ahead.
got to change the definition of like what tough is, right? Because that's what you're
Mm.
told. Don't cry, toughen up. But what the definition of tough is being able to say how you feel, right? Is being able to be true to yourself no matter who's around, not being one way over here and then one way over here. And where I come from, they're like, yo, you got to keep it 100 all the time. Like, be real. Well, am I really being real if I'm really hurting? Am I really being real if, yo, I don't want to do this? Is foolish what we're doing,
Mm.
right? Like, is that being tough? No. So now that becomes the struggle now, right? It's like, man, I need to find the right therapist so I can go to therapy so I can work through some of these things. And then it's like, man, who talks about that? Like black dudes don't be talking about that where I come from, bro. You don't bring that up like therapy. Like, come on,
Right.
man. What you mean? But I understand something now, Mark.
And
It's
people
not a
stay at a lower level because they don't deal with it too,
yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Go ahead. You
And it's
understand?
not I don't even it's not even the fact that I understand it's not like black people don't want to go to therapy. It's
Mm-hmm.
the community, the environment that you're in.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I'm around some black folks at a high level, they're like, yo, what you mean you ain't in therapy? Like, yo, you got to get a therapist. I don't care if you don't think you have past trauma, you got to get one. It's the low level. So
Right.
when you're in a low level environment and this is your identity that's hooked to it, so your habits are hooked to it. So you think, yeah, if I go get therapy, if I go get help, if I talk about what struggles I'm going through, then I'm weak. No, I'm weak in this weak environment, right? But the mind shift is one thing to say it. It's another thing to be able to pick up the phone and call somebody.
Yeah.
And like I told you, man, I was in a car the other day and a song was on and I couldn't even tell you what in the song like triggered me, but all it made me think about is everyone that I lost, everything that I seen. I started remembering stuff that I forgot even happened, and that's when you know, man, like your mind is so powerful. And I just
Mm.
broke to the point I had to pull over, and I sent my best friend a text,
Mm.
and in the text, all I said to him was, "I wish you was here for me to talk to in person."
Mm.
And he responded right back like, "What's up? What's wrong? You all right?" And he was like, "Yo, I'm driving. I'm gonna pull over." And he pulled over, and he called me, and we started talking.
That's
And
amazing.
when he said to me, like, "Yo, everything you're saying, man, is there's no lie to it. Like, yo, it's so real." And and I look up to this dude, like that's my guy. Where it's like that's my guy, like my brother. And when he said that, I'm like, yo, I ain't know you was feeling like that too,
Mm.
without saying it. So we're still talking in code. You know what I mean? It's still
Right,
in code, like
right.
without
But both
saying
of
it.
you are going through it. And
Yeah,
everyone listening right now, that's why it's the same for them
yeah,
too. Like you're right. We talk in code. We use all these different words instead of just like saying what's really going on. And then you find out everyone
yeah.
goes through this. And then what you were
Mhm.
saying at the higher levels, they have different coaches. I mean, Dan Waldschmidt would not. He'd be happy for me to say this, but I mean, dude, that guy has had high level coaches and therapists. I mean, he was like boy wonder and super successful on Wall Street at age 29. His wife cheated on him. He found himself with a bottle of whiskey and a gun in his mouth. That's how his book literally starts. And was on top of the world as far as the world knew.
Mhm.
Was sitting in his office in between meetings for like CNBC to go talk stocks and sitting there in the dark crying. Um,
Yep.
and he's got coaches, therapists. He's got like a whole team that it's coaching and therapy. It's just like learning another building block. But when we talk to someone else too, and they open up and they are like, dude, I'm going through the same thing, bro. Like it makes you also it's that conversation probably helped your friend as much as it helped you.
Yeah. Absolutely. You gotta think about it, man. So many people are confused. Like it's like it's really confusion. Like, do I trust my circle and tell them what's really going on with me when they say, "Hey, how you doing, man? You all right?" Do I
Right.
do I trust them? Right? If now I'm at the point now, Mark, where I'm tired of keeping it bothering. I'm tired of everybody seeing me happy, and inside I'm just destroyed
Mm.
and in pieces. A lot of times, I just became good at masking it. Became good at good being the man to
Mm.
hold it in and just keep pushing. But now, man, if I consider you to be a friend, like a real friend, and you
Right,
say,
right.
"Hey, how you doing, man? Is that like you all right?" I'm not going to say, yeah. I'm not going to be tough with you.
If
I'm,
you're
I'm
really
going to be
going,
like,
yeah.
yeah. Now I'm not just gonna dump on you, right? But if I'm like, yo, you know what, man, today or this week's been rough, man, and this is why. You know what I mean? And if you're the one that finds it to be hilarious or hey, go toughen up, I bet you I remove you from my circle very fast because you're
Right.
not what I need for the elevation. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like
they're
you're not
more of
it.
a acquaintance versus a friend. More of like, hey, how are
Yeah,
you? Oh, I'm good, man. How are you? And it like ends there. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
and it's
And
important
it's not a
people have
pity party.
those. Yeah. No.
So
It,
no way at all. It's not a pity party, man.
no. It's. I've never looked at it like that when you've reached out to me about this. I'm because I know you and I know how hard you're constantly working. And um, I read this great quote. It's actually a children's book, but it has so many layers to it. Um, it's for adults too. And there's one line in there where the kid is like talking to the horse, and he's like, what's the bravest thing you've ever done? The kid says to the horse, and the horse is like, ask for help. And this it hit me hard, dude. I was like tearing up. And he's like, asking for help doesn't make you weak. He's like, it means you have the courage that you're not wanting to give up. And he's like, that's the bravest thing I've ever done. And I'm like, whoa. I was like reading it to Gilbert for his like at bed, and I'm like tearing up reading that, and like, man, like taking pictures of it with my phone. And what's the bravest
That's
thing you've
deep.
ever done? Ask for help.
Yeah.
Right?
That's a whole word right there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'll tell you, man, in the process of the going deeper into the work, like doing deep, like deep work and looking
Yeah,
for the
share
trauma.
that
Like,
with
yo,
us, man.
why like why do I get so aggressive? Like, what are the triggers that make me aggressive? I don't like to be challenged because I was always the little guy. And when you challenge me, one time I didn't step up and I feel like I got bullied and chumped and I ain't like it, right? So that I started looking at the inner work and I'm like, oh, I'm relating everything to when this older dude in my neighborhood did this to me.
Mm.
And when I start looking at being in certain environments and around certain people, I'm like, yo, why am I like that? Well, I feel closed in. And I remember being in cars and the cars getting riddled with bullets, right? Multiple times. And I'm a teenager. And this
Right.
is the stuff that we consider to be like normal. So then when someone says something to you, right? So you be in environments where people consider a fight to be words.
Mm.
And certain words they say, they consider it to be okay. For me, I'm in that car and it's getting hit by bullets again. And the way you're talking to me, you're about to do that to me. So I
And they're
feel
not
away,
having a clue that it's doing
not
that.
having a clue.
Yeah.
Don't have a clue. And now I'm looking at you like, yo, you're the person who did that to me
Mm.
because you're threatening me. But the thing is, you're not even physically threatening me. You're threatening my identity that I attached to the guy that was in that car. You see what I mean? So it's totally different. And as I do this work and I start to really think about it, and it's like, man, I ain't never been in like overseas in combat, but I've been in the inner city in
Right.
combat where you don't know if you're gonna live throughout the day, if you're gonna go to jail. You don't know. It's not just enemies. You got the enemies, you got the cops, you got yourself. And
Yeah.
when I left that environment, bro, I never left that mind. Like that mind follows me and it's suppressed, right? And it wakes up from time to time. That becomes the biggest struggle. Like, how do I keep that under control? Even when my wife says something to me
Mm-hmm.
and she's like, why are you responding like that? And I'm like, what? Like, I'm not even meaning it like that, but I'm just wired like this. And
Mm.
it's so it hurts because I don't want to hurt her, not in
Mm-hmm.
any way, right? Like I never put my hands on her. Let's be very clear,
No,
right? I've never in
yeah.
my life. But it's just the words or the way that I say stuff. And it's me going through my mental struggle of all
Mm.
of this stuff being trapped inside. And then I go ahead and say, oh, let me start smoking. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna smoke. That don't help nothing. That helped nothing. When I was young, it kept it suppressed for a while.
Right.
Now it makes me so nervous. It makes me so paranoid. Every word, every thought I think can't escape. It can't
Yeah.
escape, and it just gets stuck inside of me, and I can't get it out. I can't verbally say it. The next thing I know, it's just a tensed up panic, and now I'm mad at everything and don't even know why. Right? So that deep work, man. Number one, I cut out the smoking. Like, y'all don't want to smoke. I'm not smoking nothing. Like, for
Mhm.
what? I want to live in whatever my truth is, and that's painful, man. That hurts,
Right.
Mark. That
Right.
hurts. I talked to my mother. I called my mother up, and I'm talking to my mother on the phone, and there was a time she threw me out in a blizzard, and she said to me, "No, I didn't," and she didn't remember.
Right. She
Yo,
probably
man, do
doesn't.
you know? It probably doesn't. Probably doesn't. But as a kid, 18 years old, walking down the street in the snowstorm with your duffel bag, and I know it make my mom sound so mean, and whatever it was, whatever she did it for. But at the end of the day, it's part of my story, and it's part of the hurt when you feel like you're thrown away. You know what I mean? When you feel
Yeah.
like nobody wants you, and when you
Mm.
feel like you're trying. So then you now, as being grown, I ain't talked to my father in 20 years, probably 15, 20 years, right? It's like, yo, who do I have? I'm by myself. I'm on an
Yeah.
island. I can't talk to no one about my problems.
Mm.
If there was a time I was afraid to say things to my wife, because I'm like, man, what if she judged me? What if she look at me like, yo, dude's not a man. Like, you're not a man like that. And by being able to talk to her, it allowed me to realize it's okay to let out my problems. It's okay to talk about it. And I don't got to live with it, because a lot of people live with these problems. When you look in the mirror and you feel like, damn, man, today, man,
Mm.
I don't even want to be here. Like, why am I here? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, why am I here? I'm looking like, yeah, I got some insurance bread. You know what I mean? Family be okay. It's like, why am I here? Right? And then it's like,
Being real, Pierre. That
it's just
happens
like
to
you.
me, dude. I mean, like, not years ago, like days ago. There there's days I'll be doing this show on confidence and all that, and I try to be as open to people as possible. I don't let this stuff stop me, but I have moments I'll wake up and I'm like, I don't even want to get out of bed today, and I think like all the and I'm like, yeah, what if I'm not like, I don't need people like thinking I'm going to commit suicide. We're really trying to be transparent with, I'm just being real, because I know these thoughts go through tons of other people's heads too, and you're not alone. And I will think the same, like, yeah, man, if I just ended it, I got insurance for the family. And then I just push through that. And I know I'm not going to do that, but we go through that.
Mhm.
Yeah, man, I'll have times I'll just pull over, I'll sit in my car, it's, and then with your wife, you want to try to figure out how much can I open up to her to get it
Mhm.
out. And then also, I don't want to be like dumping a whole load of bricks on her every day,
Yep.
and overwhelming her to where it's like totally bogging her down. How have been some ways that you guys have been able to kind of start working through some of this together?
Oh man, so when it comes to my wife, man, like things that she knows, I keep it there. Um, and if we're in the middle of one of them conversations and it leads into something else, and she asks, I treat it like you would a baby, a young kid coming up, like where babies come from. You know what I mean? Like I treat it like with kid gloves, and that's why it's important to have another outlet,
Mm.
right? Because if you don't have the other outlet, then you hold it in, and that's where, when you hold it in, that's where you end up. At some point, man, you just end everything for yourself, right? Because you're holding it in, and you're owning it all. You're being a tough guy, and you're pulling over in the car, and you're by yourself, and you're letting it out. But what happens when that don't work anymore? What happens when you just start going down the deeper hole,
Mm.
right? And then when you have somebody that you can talk to, now you let it out. And now you're like, okay, cool. I'm not the only one. Cool. Let me get back in the fight now. And let me work these things out. And let me get out the fight and work on me. And then now you're like, yo, yeah, I had them thoughts, but I'm good. Like, I'm moving this way because I don't keep it in. So I know I have to have an outlet where I can speak to people. This is what's going on. I got activities. Like, that's why I started going to the gym a lot, right? Because it just helps me
The gym is, I
yeah.
can't stress that enough. Great. It makes you look better physically, mentally. It is so healthy to go to the gym.
Yeah.
I would have literally lost my mind if I was not going to the gym. But go ahead, Pierre.
Yeah. So, that's one of the things, like, go to the gym. So when I get to my wife, I like my wife to be happy. I want her smiling. So I don't want to give her all the problems. So I want to constantly work on me outside of us. Outside of us is where I want to work on me. In with us, when I ask her, like, hey, what's one of the things I could do to make something better? And she tells me, I want to work on doing that, because for me, that's part of my therapy, because I've been with her 28 years. All I want her is happy. So if I can make her happy, then that's fulfilling a huge part of my life. But I can't be the person to do that for her if I'm not over here working on me, because she has nothing to do with this. Right? Nothing to do with this. She can't make me right. She can't make me happy. She can't do none of that. I got to make sure that I'm doing all of that for me. So I try to keep the two things separate. And if she asks, I just handle it, like, I give it just enough, like just a little bit, like, here. And we'll have them discussions about
safe.
that. And I feel safe, man. There's times, man, I cried, man. We was out eating at a nice restaurant, right? The $1,000 bill for the four of us, and we're having a great dinner. And I look over at my son, and I'm like, man, I'm just so glad, like, you ain't have to come up like me. And when I thought about that, I just thought, man, at my son's age, the things I've done, the things I've seen, and I'm looking at my son, and I'm like, man, everything that I had to go through was just to make sure you never had to. And
Amen.
and I'm at the table in the middle of the restaurant, man. I just start crying. My son's like, don't do that, Dad, not here. And then my wife just put her hand on my back, right? And she was like, yo, do what you want. Do what you want. It's your table. You're paying the bill. You do what you want.
That's
And I'm just like, wow, like, we was in our own bubble. And my son looked at me, and his eyes watered, and he got up and walked around, man, and he gave me a hug.
Make me too. Yeah. That's
the biggest, right? So for reasons like that, I got to be tough enough to have these conversations, because I'll never remove myself, because then who do they have? You see what I'm saying? So
yeah, bro. And you know what, Pierre? Now your son is going to be seeing it's okay, because he looks up to you and he knows you've been the king, the provider, and tough guy, and seeing, okay, he can also let his tears out. And also, you don't stay there. You don't let that stop you. You pick your sword back up the next day and you go back into battle.
Yeah,
you keep
absolutely.
building your empire. But this other thing you're tapping into, which other people, it's important, because you didn't see that as a role model. First of all, having a good upbringing like you've given your kids in life, but also seeing, okay, it's okay to deal with some stuff mentally, and let it out, and let some tears out as a man. It doesn't make you, it makes you stronger. And it's a blessing that he's able to now, you're helping yourself, but through that, you continue to help everyone else around you as a result.
And that's the mission, man. Like, I was just asking myself, like, who will benefit? You know what I'm saying? For me to keep pushing, for me to get past all the pain, all the mental roadblocks, like, who will benefit and how will they benefit? You know what I mean? And if I don't, who will lose and how will they lose? Like, I'm just asking myself them questions all the time. Like, how will they lose? Who would lose? And I want to know. If I know, yep, my son, my wife, my daughter, how? I want to be very detailed on how will they lose. And when I think about that all the time, that's what gets me back to like, all right, cool. Like, ain't nobody losing on my watch, right?
Right.
So in order for them not to lose, though, I can't lose. And I think a lot of times we focus so much on everybody else and we neglect ourselves until it's over. You know what I'm saying? Like until you finally want to say, "Yo, I'm gonna put that pistol in my mouth and it's over." You know what I mean? I'm gonna put that
And it
pistol to my head
happens.
and it's over
And it
all
happens
the
with
time.
with high perform, actor. I mean, Robin Williams. I'm just thinking, and people think like, wait, how? They think it's like one incident, like what happened, but no, it's like
Yeah,
they've been battling stuff for decades and decades and decades, and didn't let it stop them. They kept pushing through. They kept pushing through. It's not like
yeah,
one singular thing. And
yeah.
it's just all these bricks built up to where if one day they were just finally in so much of an abyss
Hmm.
for not asking for help, you know?
Yeah. You think
That's just
about this.
speaking facts, man. That's where this stuff can lead to. Like we can't lie about that. And it's important.
Mm. Nah, think about this, Mark, man. And as I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, and it just hit me. A lot of these conversations, man. You know why they're a lot of avoided? Because you're going to tear up. You're
Mm,
you're going to bend. You know what I mean? You're not going to break. You're going to bend though. And
mm,
when you bend, it's going to tear up because you really got to admit to yourself, like, yo, everything that I did, like a majority, man, it was wrong. Yo, this hurt my mental. Like mentally, this messed me up.
mm,
And you got to admit all of that. But so if I stay out of the conversation, though, I can pretend that it's not that serious. I can pretend that it don't hit me like that. But
right.
when you get into the conversations, yo, you can't be 48 years old talking about stuff you did as a teenager that you ain't had no business doing, like, and not feel away. And don't get me wrong, there's a few people out there like you just stone cold, and you're like, yo, nothing's going to change that, right? But that's not the majority of the people. Majority of the people get into worlds and environments because it's there, it's easier, it's convenient, it's forced upon, right? And it's easier to do the nonsense now than to put in all the work to get the relief later. So you say, let me just do this over here and do all the nonsense. And I never have the conversations that way. I don't never have to worry crying about it.
Mm,
Even putting it in my bookmark, I never talked about it. Like, I don't talk about it in public. I was going home crying, man. Like, who wants to talk about it? But now, bro, this is the medicine. This is the medicine. And when you can commit to making yourself better,
mm,
and you can have the courage to do the work
mm,
that needs to be done and figure out your capabilities inside of the commitment, inside of your courage, the capabilities enough that keep you feeling like, oh my God, this is still nerve wracking, but you hang out right there. And now,
mm.
because you put in that
You
type
go
of work,
through it.
you're
You
able to
go
look now
through
and say,
it.
okay,
Like you said, you
my
hang out
capability,
right there. You don't run
you
from
hang
it. You
out.
don't distract. You work because the way I'm envisioning it is we don't, and you just keep bottling it down. So
Mhm.
when you hang out, you're not hanging out isn't saying really anything. You're not totally, it's like you're just letting it go through you, and the tears are it releasing. The way I look at it is that's actually medicinal, and it's releasing from you.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's almost like getting surgery, or even a tree that a gardener comes in, and the tree, the gardener's smiling and starts pruning the leaves, and the tree's sitting there like, ouch, like, why are you cutting my leaves off? Why are you? And the gardener's whistling and stuff. And the tree's feeling all this pain, like you're cutting my leaves down. This hurts like hell. Then winter comes
Hmm.
and it's more shriveled up. And the tree's like, okay, now you cut more of my leaves, my branches. Now, like, I'm I'm even colder. This is horrible. But then the tree doesn't know when spring comes. Each one of those ones he intentionally clipped was so where there was one, like two more will blossom out. So you got to be pruned in order to blossom. And
Yeah.
when you're going through the pruning, it hurts. It's
Hmm.
scary. But the other end of that, and the only way to get there, like you're saying, is to go through that
Yeah.
pruning to be able to blossom at a whole other level. And what's something what have you been reading that's been helping you through this? Can you put that out there? So sounds like you found something that's been very helpful. I'd like people to
Oh
know.
yeah. Yeah,
I'd like
man.
to
So
check it
there's
out.
this there's this one book, man, The Three Magic Words, that I'm actually on right now. Phenomenal book, man, The Three Magic Words.
How did you hear about it?
I was listening to an interview with Nipsey Hussle, and he was like, "Man, one of the books I read earlier on
Hmm.
was the Three Magic Words," and instantly, man, I jumped on, got the book,
Was he
and
opening
started to
up
listen to it.
about stuff that we're talking about? Where he talked about
It was the mind. It was keeping the mind in control and how the subconscious mind works. So before that, I was on the deep work. So
Mhm,
between going through the deep work and then listening to the three magic words, that subconscious mind, there's so much that's buried there.
mhm.
And when it gets in there, it's not just coming out. There's things that will trigger it. It pops out, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm remembering things like, yo, I ain't even know. Damn, I did that. Wow.
Mm.
Yo, I had that. Wow, I can't. Yo, I'm still here. You know what I mean? Like, I'm having them
How do you
experiences.
process that when you're remembering it, Pierre? Because I know there's one part of the adversity that you went through that helped you to be very driven and successful in life because you were able to flip that and be like, I want out of this so bad. I'm never going to go back to that. And also, I can overcome this. I mean, I've been shot at,
Mhm.
and that made you a warrior and a high performer on one side of it.
Mhm.
But then on the other side, there's all these things from it that naturally are haunting you and you haven't been able to process them. So when these new, and I also think
Mhm.
when you face it and you cry and you release stuff,
Mhm.
it's like a whole well that's been but so then like you're saying, it allows all these other things that have been suppressed, these other memories and stuff that have almost been like blocked up like a cork on a bottle or something, and they start coming out. um and that's needed. But when you're starting to have these vivid memories of stuff that you kind of forgot about, when you say you like hang out there, like what does the
Mhm.
book and stuff say? How do people deal? How are we supposed to deal with that? Like, what are some things you do with those?
It's looking at each thing and finding a way, right? It either becomes fuel or it becomes water and puts the fuel out. This is the way to look at it. So what I mean by that is when something pops into my head and I'm like, whoa, like I done been through that, like that done happened. Why am I afraid to walk into that room? Why am I afraid to talk to that people? Why am I afraid to go into that organization? Why am I afraid to elevate my bit? Like I went through that. Ain't nobody in the room ever go through that. You know what I mean? Like if there is, maybe one, and that's it. So it gives me a sense of courage at the same time, but also what the downside of it is, I feel like everybody can see that in me. I feel like when I go into a room, I'm going in with that. right? So it becomes the downside. So I got to pick how do I want to use this? What do I want to let it do to me today and for the rest of my life? So when I get them thoughts, the first thing that happens is, man, I acknowledge the thought. Once I acknowledge the thought, if it's something to where like it's really hurtful and it's painful, I'm gonna cry because you know what I mean. Like I'm gonna have a moment. I might tear up. I
Release.
might cry. It's going to release because one thing I noticed, Mark, is the stuff that's in my subconscious mind makes my heart hard. And when I cry, and inside of our book, our scripture says that when you cry, it makes the heart soft. So when I'm going through this, I'm looking at it like, man, Allah just telling me, yo, you need to cry this out right now. You need to release this anyway. You got work to do, but take your little moment. But then we got to get right back to it. So when I heard when I thought about the fact of my heart becoming so solid, so stiff and cold, where somebody get shot, you like, nah, they got shot last night. That's crazy. Oh, such and such got murdered. Nuh-uh. Like I'm not even going to funerals no more. I'm not doing none of that. Somebody died. Okay, cool. Yo, get up. You still got work to do. Yo, that's not normal, right? It's not normal, but I normalized it because that was my protection to myself. So when I get the moments, Mark, and it's coming out, the book saying, number one, be careful what you're putting in because it's going to hit your subconscious. But when something happens, I need you to find what that trigger is. What triggered it? So I stopped listening to music, right? I listen to music maybe once, twice a week. I'm not listening to the whole album, nothing, because the music I listen to triggers who I was. And I don't want to be who I was. And a lot of times, man, if you're not willing to separate with who you was, you can't become who you need to be.
Yeah.
But who you was so painful to go back and look at because there's things that you're going to go to your grave with you're never going to talk about. But that's an excuse. Find the things you will talk about. Because if you can shed 50%, 20% of what you're feeling, if you can shed 30% of what you're feeling, oh my God, man, you know what it does to your life? It makes you better. It makes you so much better. So that subconscious, do the deep work. Figure it out. Ask yourself the questions. Yo, what was it like in the summer of 95? My 95 summer, Mark, was like 3-4 years of life, if not more. And I want to break that down, man. And I went through and I broke everything down, Mark, and I identified so much. And I said, what part of this can I use now? Which part of this can I study? And which part of this do I need to just deal with and throw away? That's it. Let me deal with it and let me throw it away. I'm going to study this right here because this made me somebody. Let me study that. And this right here, I'm just going to execute with. And that's how I focus on living on it now. And that's why I don't care to talk about it. I don't care. Like if I get a moment, man, my eyes get watery. Yep. I'm damn proud of where I come from. I'm proud of the progress I made, all of it.
Yeah. And I'm damn proud of the progress you're making with all this and the courage it takes and how many more people you'll be helping right now, just literally by sitting here talking. And I think there's also a point where, and you're talking to me, I'm writing notes for myself too. I'm actually going to listen to that book. I need to do this more.
That book's fire,
dude. I've overcome a lot, but I have a lot more I need to face. And it's scary, but it's a good thing. And I think on the other end of some of that, it will help you with that awareness to realize, okay, I'm getting ready to go into this board meeting or whatever. I'm feeling this kind of way, but then you'll be able to, since you've gone through it, to process, wait, the way I'm feeling right now isn't real and has nothing to do with this meeting. And you're able to not disassociate in a way like you're suppressing it. You're able to be like, no, that's from this other thing from that. I'm letting that go like a balloon filled with helium in the sky. And that part doesn't need to come into this meeting with me anymore. I don't need that. And you can release it and realize, no, that person isn't the same person that's walking into this room right now. Everything you've been through has built you up. Our whole life experience is to become who we are. But it doesn't define us. And it's crazy how we can feel these. I know me with having anxiety and panic and after jail and all that stuff. I get it, and I would get it so bad too. I still do, but I've worked through a lot of it, and it just continually takes like processing. Like I'll have stuff pop in my head from like 8th grade or something of some crazy thing, or almost getting like jumped, and just weird, you know. I had weird. I was blessed to have great parents, but you know, you seen my mugshot and all. I got into a lot of craziness and nonsense, and there's times where that bubbles up in other situations, and it's just like realizing when I'm having that feeling and stuff, it's sometimes connected to that, but not to this, and like separating from it and kind of learning how to let that go and be okay with it, instead of thinking like something must be wrong, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I'm like processing this in real time with you. You know, it's like
Yeah,
hard
yeah,
to
yeah, yeah.
get it out, but like I'll just have that feeling, or my heart will start beating fast. So the adrenaline, which is normal to be
Hmm.
nervous or whatever, it just means you care. It feels like being excited. But when it's like overly accelerated, just for normal stuff or normal situations, um,
You know what? One of the real parts about it though that I love, man, and it's crazy, right? One of the big positives that come out of it, Mark, is the more you do the deep work on yourself, the more you analyze yourself and what makes you tick. When you're sitting across from people and you're talking to them, there's certain lingo, there's certain conversations, there's certain body language, because you know you so well now. Like you're really breaking you down. You start to look at that person and you like, oh yeah, they're not really secure neither. Like, yo, there's some deep pain in there. Because
right,
there's certain things that people with pain do. There's certain ways you move. There's certain ways you enter a room. Like you can hide it, but you can only hide it from people who haven't done the work yet.
mm,
Right? If you're around other people with pain that are holding it in and haven't did the work, they're looking at you like, oh yeah, I want to be like that, not knowing that you're feeling the way they're feeling. But when
right,
you actually do the work, yo, it's different. It's just like walking into a room full of millionaires. The way that I'm talking like real millionaires, the way
mhm,
they sit, the way they carry themselves, the way they dress, the walk, everything is completely different. Where you're like, and don't get me wrong, you got some actors who pull it off, right? But when you look and you're in that room, you know you're in that room. You're in a power room, right? It's the same thing when somebody's emotionally destroyed and they got so much bottled up. If you watch them, there'll be signs where you're like, oh yeah, nah, they're going through something, but they're putting up a great front right now. And when
right,
you start to see that, it helps you to really have confidence, right? Confidence in it. You're not expressing it because you don't want to be the only one in here that got these stories, and you don't feel like you're strong enough to be in this room. Yo, a lot of them got it. So when you start to see it in other people, you start to feel like, okay, this isn't just me. This is what people go through. Like this is
all
just
people,
real life. I don't
all
have to feel
people,
bad about it.
yeah.
Yes,
It
absolutely.
it's been different, you know. It may be some white dude that was not raised, never saw a gun, but they've had their different stuff, man, that
Hmm.
screws them up. And I've been in those rooms, you know, making it to be a millionaire, and been the one in the room that everyone else is looking up to, and been the one that had to leave the room and like went to the bathroom like splashing water on my face, like, oh my god, what if they find out who I really am and what's going on in my head, and should I be, and it's like e- e- everyone looks up to everyone, and they falsely think that to be there, that means you must not ever be going through all these mental doubts and stuff. And
Yep.
it's bullshit. It's
Man, do you
absolute
know what it's like
bullshit.
when you're sitting there and you know like something with you ain't right, and you're watching a movie with your family, and something comes on in that movie and it makes you feel like you're a piece of shit.
Mm.
It makes you feel like you're not doing what you need to be doing, or you might not be providing mentally, emotionally, physically, because you see something in the movie and you're sitting there and that part of that movie makes you so uncomfortable. But when
Mm.
you're done watching that damn movie, you don't go and look at yourself and say, how do I fix this?
Mm.
You just learn to live in that misery. And there's so many people, I promise, man, there's times I watch movies and I'm like, damn, I ain't living up to that one right there. I'm not doing that. Like, why? Like, damn, I should be at least. Like, why not? Okay, I got to go fix that. Before it was just, I'm going to sit in that mess and I'm going to let it just marinate in my head and seep and go deeper and deeper into my subconscious, to where now all you're doing is building more insecurities. More insecurities. When you feel that, when you watch something, you see something, and you're like, yo, man, and it makes you feel a way, either go do something about it or stop pretending like you wanna be that, or you want that to be you. So I just think like that's a real thing. There's no way I'm the only one that watched movies and felt that way before. But don't
Right.
nobody talk about it. You just sit in the filth. Like,
Mm.
stop. When you feel that, when you
Face
feel
it.
it, go face it. Go face it. That's it.
It's a process. So where does someone start? Like, you would the 3 magic words you definitely recommend. When you keep saying doing this deep work, did that come from the 3 magic words, or did that come from something else?
No, that came from the book. That came from the book Deep Work.
Mm.
That book Deep Work. Oh man, it is phenomenal.
I'm writing these down.
Phenomenal, man.
Which one would
Deep
you
Work.
recommend someone to listen to or read first? If they're,
Three magic words.
you would say do that first and then deep work second. I'm
Then
actually
the deep
asking for
work.
myself
Yeah.
right now too.
Yeah, I would do deep. If I got the 3 magic words first, I would have did that first. Then
Mm.
deep work,
Mm.
and then for all men, man, and even women, women, don't give it to your man if you're not confident with you. But the way of the superior man, phenomenal, man. It makes you think completely different, and again, it gets you out of that I'm the only one. You know what I mean? Like, yo, it's not just you. It's not just you. This is real. That's why there's a lot of books out there for it. If there wasn't so much if there wasn't a need for it, there wouldn't be so much information for it, right? So
I want
don't
to
be in
talk to those
private with it.
authors, try to get some of them on the show.
Yeah. Oh man, phenomenal,
Yeah.
phenomenal, Mark. Yeah, the 3 magic words. That's the one I'm on right now.
Mm.
I love it, man. The subconscious. I keep going back to like chapter 1, listening to chapter 1 over and over and over and over. And each chapter is like an hour, 2 hours long. Phenomenal though. It's a must.
Well,
Yeah.
the ones you have to keep listening to or rereading, it's because you got to keep applying it, and it's just like you can't just skim through it.
Mm.
Yeah.
They're not books to just listen to or books to just read. It's books to do the work. I was reading for a long time, listening to books for a long time, but are you doing the work? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like if it's like, yo, do this, do that, are you doing the work? That's the magic, doing the work. And that's why, like for me, I find that these are things, man. And you know, like I got the Life After High School program. That's why it's so important, because a lot of my traumas started in high school.
Mm.
Trying to fit in,
Yep.
trying to be who I wasn't, right? Like
Yeah.
I didn't feel like who I was good enough. So I
Me
wanted
too.
to create somebody else. So I go from Pierre to the nickname, and you start to build that out as a brand. Why wouldn't I build Pierre out as a brand?
Mm.
Why wasn't I comfortable with being me? Why do I got to wait till I get out of high school? By then you're wired to fit in. You know what I mean? And then the weird ones who didn't care, they end up going off to be successful because they never thought about you. They didn't care what you thought about them. But in high school, when you're worried about what everybody thinks about you, when you get out, that don't go away. It's hardwired now. You're setting yourself up for depression and frustration. And that's the stuff where I'm dealing with now to get rid of, because there's no use for it. I don't have use for it now. I don't need to be that person, man. I got to rewire, recircuit. Yeah. Unplug and rewire everything, man. That's work, Mark. That hurts.
But it's like that pruning so you can blossom.
Yep.
Going into another level of a cocoon to come out to a whole other phase of a butterfly.
Yes.
Yeah. I because of the jail and high school and stuff, it got me to change a lot. And I have done a lot of deep work that made me be able to build and do a lot of the stuff that I do. However, there's still a lot that I battle and struggle with that I know I need to do this stuff and apply it. And also, you know, you've been able to be very successful and get out of a lot of this too. You just, like you mentioned to me, this is the one main area you felt like you had put off till it got you to a breaking point. Thank God, not to a full breaking point, you know?
Yeah, it
'Cause
was
we all
a
need you
bang.
around, man.
Listen, my son graduated, my daughter's about to graduate, and that's what pushed this work. Before the motivation was, man, I want to make sure my son and my daughter are in one environment. They can go to one school. That was my wife's biggest thing, right? Making sure they stay in one school, one district with the same friends all the way through. And it worked. They didn't have to keep jumping school to school, making new friends. Both graduated. My son graduated, honors, my daughter honors, principal list. Like, I have no complaints when it comes to that, right? Like, we did that. But me being able to push through my struggles was to make sure that they was okay. But now they're okay. What the hell do I do now? This is why I got to do that work. Not saying my wife's not enough to fight for, but I gotta work on me now. It was fighting through, not worry about working on me internally. Just keep doing what I needed for them to be okay. But they're older now. It's another chapter of my life, and for me to move on, I gotta deal with some things that I've been putting off, right? And I just recommend, like, nobody, you don't have to hold this stuff this long. Like, you can work on it right now, today. You don't got to wait until your kids get out and until it's another chapter. Do it now. But that's what created that urgency for me, because I said to myself, like, what's the fight for now? Like, because I still don't. Sometimes, man, I don't think I'm worth the fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I can't just fight for me. Like, I don't care. I'll be okay regardless. I'll figure it out. But I had to figure out how to make me better, so that's not my mindset anymore, because I need to want to fight for me.
Right. Yeah, because I remember we talked and you're like, dude, I'm really, like, being honest, like, I'm going through it, you know, like, past the code words, just really open up about feeling like real depression. And
Yeah. And it's okay.
I totally got it. Yeah, no, it's important to have. First of all, I appreciate you trusting me to reach out, and also you need some people like that in your inner circle. And I have a lot of people write in the comments. They're like, well, Mark, it's nice that you guys got each other and you can do that, but I don't have anyone. And I'm like, well, you've got this podcast. You've got those books Pierre's talking about, you know, you can start with that, with the information of us talking and other people. And along the way, as you continue to grow and develop, you'll start to meet other people along that journey that aren't.
Listen, man, I didn't
push you.
I didn't think I had nobody either, Mark. I didn't think I had nobody neither, right? Even the dude I came up with forever, I didn't think I had nobody until I reached out to somebody. I had the courage to reach out to somebody, and they was going through the same thing. You see what I'm saying? So we think we don't have nobody because everybody is so used and so good to playing tough. People, actors and actresses, and they ain't even getting a check from Hollywood. You just doing it. You know what I mean? Like, so you got to get to the point where you're so brave and you're so tired of keeping it bottled in and feeling like crap, right, internally, so everybody else can think you're the life of the party. You're so focused on that you're not ready to see if your friends are really friends,
Mm.
right? That's the thing. You're not ready to see if the people around you, the people that call you family, are really family, or is it just a title? The people that say you're my friend, is it really friends or just a title? If it's
Right.
only a title, then you're going to know because they ain't going to have nothing for you. If
They're
it's
an
a friend, they're
acquaintance.
going to be like, oh my God, I'm so glad you said something. I'm so like, I go through this too. You're like, nah. And now
Yeah.
all of a sudden you done had y'all kumbayaing together. You see what I
Yeah.
mean? So, we have the people. We're just not brave enough to speak up, and neither are they. Somebody got to be brave enough. Stop saying people are your friends, but you don't even share the pain to try to help them fix their pain. That's a lie.
Mm. That's a good point. And if and
That's a
if they're-
whole
and if
lie,
they're
man.
and if the they're going to help you based on their level of understanding, but if their response right away is like, don't bring that nonsense here, that's wet, you're not supposed to that's not a real friend. Then you're able to
No.
you can just respectfully be like, all right, well, I hope you have a good day, and then you can check off your list. All right, that's a hi, bye, how are you doing acquaintance type person,
Absolutely. Yeah.
because and that's why I was just talking to someone about this the other day. I have a lot of acquaintances, but I have a small group of friends in my inner circle. And I purposely keep it small. And there's different seasons. You grow, you evolve. But these people, something really happens in their life tragically. I'm going to be out there on a plane that night to do what I got to do to help them. And I know they would do the same for me. And you can't do that for hundreds of people. You got to have, it's a tight circle. And it's not about, people overthink with social media and all this crap these days. It's all about, got to have thousands and millions. But no, it's like you need a tight, small inner circle of real,
Yeah. Absolutely. It's not. Listen, man. I got you and a couple other people outside of my wife.
Yeah, me
Like
too.
what more you need of that? And we could go months and not talk. And when
Yep.
we talk, we never start talking like, man, you ain't called me in a long time. No, we,
Never.
we pick up from where we left off. We move on. If there's something that's needed in between, we'll reach out.
That's
Right?
a real friend.
Yeah. So and I think that's a
Mm.
problem, man. One thing I learned is I don't I don't want a lot of friends because my friend's been murdered. And my friends would get into something, and next thing I know, they're at my house or my phone's ringing, and now I'm in the middle of something because that's my friend. So when I hear friend, it's like, yo, I got to ride with you to the end, no matter what. You see what I'm saying? I'm like, yo, I'm
But
not about that. I
but
don't
if
want
it's
it's too
if they're
much.
into toxic stuff, that's not the same thing as
No,
a healthy friend. When they
correct.
really get into something, it's something they're never going to bother you about ever until if it gets to that, they're
Hmm.
a real one. And it's the opposite of like, I'm in jail, I need you to bail me out or something like that, or I need you to stash this this bag of this for that's not a real friend, that's toxic. We're talking about
Correct.
real
But
things.
then yeah, but so what happens though is like because all my friends was like that when I got
Mm.
away from it, I don't want no friends because for me that's what I relate a friend to.
Mm.
Right? So now it's like I don't really want to mingle with you. Nah, I'm good and I'm gonna get away. And I probably missed a lot of opportunities like that because I don't want to get close to you.
Mm.
I want to get close to you. I don't know. You might do something. It might offend me. It might violate. Right? I don't want to get close to you. Something might happen to you, and now I got to feel away. So I just rather not be near nobody. So my experiences stunt my growth. So
Mm.
I got to be able to look at all of this, right? So that's another level of frustration. Now I got to learn to be social. I don't want to be social like this because I come from over here, but then internally I know I need to be, and then it becomes a clash and it's a fight.
Mm.
And it's like, man, and I can't commit to neither one.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And so now it's more of an internal struggle. So I'm just like, yeah, I don't really need no friends like that. I don't want no friends I just want my wife. You know what I mean? And the few friends I have, and I just want to keep going, man, and working on me, Mark. That's my life mission, is to work on me until I'm no longer here.
That's important though, man. What made it and also, it takes vulnerability to have a healthy friendship and be able to connect and
Hmm.
realize someone might be like, "Hey, I'm in a different season. I've evolved," people can let you down. Everyone's humans, and that's
Hmm.
part of life. I don't want to get into the whole thing that's been all this crazy drama I've been involved in YouTube, but that has messed with me because this was someone that I thought I knew really well for 2 years. I thought it was like, and I'm still processing through that if I'm being honest. And then there's the other part of me that's like, how could you have been such a sucker to not see through but you can't, you know, think like
You
that.
can't see everything.
No,
I know
man.
you become what do they say when a woman's in a relationship? She gets and it's abusive. She got battered man syndrome, right? Men get battered syndrome too. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? We get battered for different things, man, and then we start looking at everything, and everything is related to it, and that's a battered syndrome mindset. This person did me wrong. I don't want to talk to nobody.
Right.
But everybody's not the same. And it's like,
That's
well, I don't
right.
want to have to pick. I don't want to have to look at all of these people and pick which are the good people, which are the bad people. So I just stay away from all of them.
You're right.
You know what
And
I
that's
mean?
not
So
me. Yeah.
yeah. Now I think right now, man, what really people, man, the first step to getting started is do a checkup on the people you're around.
Mm.
And that means see if you express how you feel, see what their reactions are,
Mm.
right? And if you're not happy with the reaction, just understand it's okay to part ways for a season or two, or maybe forever, who knows.
Mm.
But it's okay to part ways, because if you can't be your true self, if someone's like, yo, how you feeling, and you tell them, and that's a problem, why the hell you ask me how I'm feeling then? Don't
Mm.
ask me. You know what I mean?
Mm.
But you got to test your people. You got to test your people. It's okay to test your people. I don't care how long you know them, and move on, because you're the most important, right? And when you fix you, you get better people. That's how it
Right.
is.
That's right. And you can help more people and be the better version of you. It's what it's all
Absolutely.
about. It's it's like the whole thing it says in the Bible, iron sharpens iron. It's
Yeah.
it's like someone that knows the full verse would know the other part, but it's about having the right people in your inner circle that you actually help sharpen each other to be better versions of yourself. It's
Yeah,
important.
absolutely, man. Being a man is speaking up. That's my motto. Being a man is speaking up, speaking out about you, how you feel.
Mm.
That's how I look at it now. That's being a man. Being a man is not being tough and holding it in. I've been
Mm.
tough all my life. I done
Mm.
fought with the best of them. I done did things I had no business doing. I did what people considered to be a man, right?
Mm.
What I considered to be a man. Like, I ain't got nothing. Nah, I want to speak up now. I want to do the opposite, Mark, and that's what I'm dedicated to.
I love it.
Yeah,
This has been I don't even have this has been powerful. I really appreciate you, Pierre, taking the time to come on in the depths of this, literally while you're doing the deep work. You're not like years out on the other end of this. You're going through it right now, and you're having the courage to do this on a show because you're wanting to help people, man. And you're like, if this conversation we have helps people, that's a
yeah,
great thing. And also, this is therapeutic to me too. This is like a therapy session. So I'm grateful for this, bro.
yeah. Me
And I've
too.
got to
I
get
feel
to
good.
work on the deep work too, man. Hold
No,
me accountable for
absolutely.
that because I'm going to get all 3 of those books.
Listen, man, you let me know which one you're gonna start. If you're gonna start, I'm gonna go to the beginning, and I'm gonna start all over and go through it fresh, because I know that we can have a discussion and there'll be a deeper understanding and be something else that comes out of it. Yeah, absolutely. I'm in. Anybody else? Yeah, I'm in. I like that.
I'm gonna do it, man. Well,
Yes,
bro. I appreciate it so much, Pierre, and everyone listening. You might want to rewind this and re-listen to a lot of good points. There was just so much in depth. I know when I re-listen to it, there's going to be some parts that hit hard. But just know you're not alone. You know, you're not alone. It's all this BS we see on everywhere on social media and all that. And I'm on social media, and I have channels. I try to be transparent as much as I really do try. That's the whole purpose of the show. But there's always more levels of it. And just know it's okay. You know, that's what I want to know. You're not alone. And don't feel like this is where your story ends and it's only you, you know. This is really where your new story begins. So again, Pierre, I love you, my brother. Appreciate you so much for coming here today. And everyone, listen, never settle, never give up, and keep elevating beyond. Boom.